This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, New Zealand Fire and Emergency crews burned down the house in Blanket Bay Road, Sawyers Bay, as part of a fire practice. The first positive COVID-19 test result has been confirmed in New Zealand's tourism capital, Queenstown. And as Dunedin's 20th Fringe Festival draws closer, could coronavirus make an impact? Kia ora, good evening. I'm Simon Anderson. New Zealand Fire and Emergency crews burnt down a house in Blanket Bay Road, Sawyers Bay, as part of a fire practice. The home was given to the fire service by a member of the Port Chalmers Volunteer Fire Brigade who wanted to clear their land.
The gift of a house to burn so fire crews can learn in a safe environment.
To get something like this is one out of the bag, you know, and when we do get a house like this, we're trying to make the most of it. Just by generally taking the volunteers through in a controlled manner.
Dunedin Central Fire Station Officer Ant O'Neill says it's a rare opportunity to receive a house to train paid and volunteer crew members with. Firefighters took turns walking through the former rental property, setting fires as they went.
Setting a light each room and in a controlled way we'll put the fire out, relight it, put it out and then teach them the characteristics of fire, really.
The owners moved out in 1975 and it had been a rental property ever since. About 30 volunteers and career staff from Ravensbourne, Port Chalmers and Waitati stations were involved in the fire training, which began early Sunday morning.
Okay, well we started at 7 o'clock this morning and that was setting up the fire trucks you can see behind me, setting up the hoses, setting up the big bladder that you can see there to supplement the water supply. At its peak we probably had close to 25 to 30 firefighters here.
Ant O'Neill says fire crews expect the house would burn until about 6 p.m. last night, but says they were keeping an eye on it overnight just to be safe. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And firefighters were called to Dunedin's Meridian Mall just before midday today. The George Street Mall was sealed off in the Golden Centre and all customers and retail staff evacuated. Fire and Emergency New Zealand say a fire was found in the mall and the area was isolated. They say there was a lot of smoke on the first floor mezzanine. At least 5 fire trucks attended the scene and multiple crews in breathing apparatus worked to ventilate the area. The fire was extinguished just after 1 p.m. What seemed inevitable has finally happened. The first positive COVID-19 test result has been confirmed in New Zealand's tourism capital, Queenstown.
A Danish woman has tested positive for the coronavirus COVID-19 in Queenstown, becoming the first case in the South Island and the 8th in the country. The woman is part of a visiting film crew and is said to be recovering well after being discharged from one night at Lakes District Hospital. The news comes as the government imposes regulations to try and slow the spread of the virus in New Zealand. People arriving from any country, except for the Pacific Islands, are now required to self-isolate for 14 days. As well as affecting thousands of people's travel plans, the move is expected to significantly affect Kiwis' jobs and the New Zealand economy. The daily number of tourists arriving in New Zealand is about half the usual number, with all tourists who arrive having to outline their self-isolation plan, and if it's not good enough, they could be refused entry. Tourists who are travelling around in camper vans are being told not to use shared campground facilities or visit popular tourist destinations. Meanwhile, authorities say the passenger suspected of having coronavirus on board the cruise ship Golden Princess, which visited Dunedin last week, has tested negative. However, scenes like this of cruise ships berthed at Dunedin's Port Chalmers are a thing of the past, with government banning any further cruise ships until the middle of the year. Several other cruise ships had been scheduled to dock at the port over the next month, and when added to the 9 cancellations already this season, the port and the city are likely to take a financial hit. In Queenstown and Dunedin, the South Today.
Despite large gatherings being called off in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Surf to Stadium Fun Run and Walk event went ahead in Dunedin yesterday. About 1,500 people took part, up by about 200 from last year's event. Spectators cheered from the sidelines as participants ran the 10-kilometre route from St Clair to the Forsyth Bar Stadium. Some chose to ditch traditional running attire and dress up in costume, including as superheroes Batman, The Flash, very apt, and Captain America. Many of the runners completed the course in about 40 minutes. This year, the Dunedin Fringe Festival Trust is celebrating its 20th year. But with public events being cancelled nationwide, the festival's director says they've cancelled one major event and the festival will follow Ministry of Health guidelines as the situation develops.
Celebrations of 20 years of the Dunedin Fringe Festival may be a little muted as the threat of the COVID-19 coronavirus is stopping events across the world.
It's our 20th anniversary this year, so that's worth celebrating, 20 years here in Dunedin. And generally the Fringe is in a really good place.
Dunedin Fringe Festival staff are still working away, putting the finishing touches on technical details. However, Festival Director Gareth McMillan says they've sadly had to cancel a couple of events following Ministry of Health guidelines about large gatherings.
We've had some of our internationals contact us because they're not able to get into the country before the new travel restrictions and self-isolation requirements came into play. We've also had some other events which we'll cancel, and we'll put these on our Facebook pages as they become available. Unfortunately, we've just made the very difficult decision to cancel the Fringe and the Octagon event. In terms of the risk profile for that, it was a large public gathering. It's not seated, so we can't track and trace participants.
He says this is a rapidly moving situation and people should follow their Facebook page for the latest information about Fringe events. He also says people who have purchased tickets will be offered refunds.
As if they have purchased a ticket to an event and the event is cancelled, they can choose to donate that back to the artist rather than having a refund. So that would be a lovely thing that you might like to do if you're in a position to do so.
Meanwhile, some performers, like the Strauch Improvised Music String Ensemble, are still rehearsing ahead of their scheduled shows. McMillan says the Fringe operating model hosts some events under the Fringe umbrella, while some are like satellite events, being independently produced. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And further Fringe events have been cancelled following the story's cutting. More information is on the festival's Facebook page. Still to come on the South Today. The DCC proposes options to replace the council plastic rubbish bag, and Warbirds over Wanaka becomes another casualty of COVID-19. See you after the break.
Hasn't been much of a summer, has it? Until now. It's hot, it's getting warm, it's great. This is the time of year we love this weather. So we have a lot of surplus stock and we want to clear it at real hot prices. 50% off anything that's short sleeve. T-shirts, short sleeve shirts, polos, everything short sleeve, half price.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, get them while it's hot.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life. Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Extreme places and extreme animals. But some animals are more extreme than others. Join us as we count down to find the most unusual and the most extraordinary on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme.
Nā mai anō, welcome back. The time has come for Dunedin City residents to have their say on curbside collection. Two options for waste have been presented to the Council for its draft annual plan consultations. One option is a new wheelie bin to replace plastic rubbish bags. Another provides a solution to green waste. Both options keep the blue glass bins and yellow wheelie bins. Mayor Aaron Hawkins says the annual plan gives residents their best opportunity to grant feedback about their vision for the city, including the curbside collection service. This year's Warbirds over Wanaka, the Southern Hemisphere's largest air show, has been cancelled. The announcement comes in the wake of the New Zealand government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
The Warbirds over Wanaka Easter Air Show has been cancelled. It was expected to attract 55,000 people over 3 days, with several thousand being visitors from overseas. The show's general manager Ed Taylor says the need for overseas visitors to self-isolate for 2 weeks was the last straw.
Because we have so many thousands of people that come from overseas, for them to have to self-isolate for 2 weeks just wasn't tenable. We had display pilots visiting United States and Australian Air Force personnel.
He says the air show's Board of Trustees had investigated other options rather than a complete cancellation.
Could we postpone it to later in the year? Could we do a cut-down version just for locals? But at the end of the day, we made the decision. We said no, in this climate, and no one knows what's going to happen in the next few weeks, so we wanted to cancel, make it clean, try and limit the financial impact on the air show, and come back in 2022 stronger than ever.
The show is normally held every 2 years, and the last one was thought to have brought in over $22 million to the regional economy. Taylor says local businesses will definitely feel the impact.
The immediate impact is in Wanaka because all those motels and hotels and houses that were booked out are not anymore.
All tickets to the air show are set to be refunded in full, but organisers have asked ticket holders to wait a few days while they confirm specifics about how people will be able to access refunds. In Wanaka, the South Today.
28 years ago, Peter Grimsey started his first full-time job as gardener and caretaker for Otago Girls High School. He is now their longest-serving support staffer, as both staff and students see him as a school icon.
So normally when I come in the morning, there's sort of some various indoor stuff, like getting dishes and washing done. Sometimes the things aren't on my job list, but sort of like sometimes we share the jobs around a wee bit. but I do quite a bit of gardening afterwards, and anything that needs sorting, put the bins out.
In 1992, Peter Grimsey started out as a caretaker and gardener at Dunedin's Otago Girls High School. 28 years later, he's still in the same job, and school principal Linda Miller says he's become an icon of the school.
He's just a generally all-round helpful guy. Whatever needs done, Pete jumps to it and does the work. He is the most loyal, most energetic. He's hard to describe. He's just awesome.
The school has a roll of about 800 girls who Grimsey gets along with very well.
There's sort of happy moments, but they're actually really good. They don't cause too much trouble here, I find.
And Miller agrees the pupils are supportive of Grimsey's role at their school.
A number of years ago, when we were about to get a new caretaker, I had a delegation of girls come and talk to me concerned that Pete may not be continuing in his job, so I was able to reassure them he absolutely was.
10 years into his career at Otago Girls, Grimsey was able to buy his own house, paying it off with a job he clearly loves.
I actually quite like shredding paper, which is a wee job I'm starting to do this year, because it gives you the spur of a moment thing, and the other one's like when they get rid of old stuff, and I get to chuck it out and I go smashing it up and things like that.
In his 28 years at Otago Girls, Grimsey's only taken sick leave twice, once for the extraction of wisdom teeth and another time when a mower ran over his foot. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, scores of pipers and drummers descend on Invercargill, and we have a look at the early week's weather. See you soon.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life. Wrens are Otago's painting, tiling and plastering experts. Offering a free measure and quote, Wrens is a name you can trust to get the job done right. Call Wrens today on 477 9384 or visit wrens.co.nz. Heaven Sent Pet Cremations knows that losing a pet is like losing a family member, and we have many special ways for you to keep their memory dear to your heart. From caskets, remembrance pendants to remembrance spheres. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today.
Hasn't been much of a summer, has it? Until now. It's hot, it's getting warm, it's great. This is the time of year we love this weather. So we have a lot of surplus stock and we want to clear it at real hot prices. 50% off anything that's short sleeve. T-shirts, short sleeve shirts, polos, everything short sleeve, half price.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, get them while it's hot.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Thanks for staying with us. The School of the Pipes and accompanying percussion filled Invercargill on Saturday. 49 national and international bands marched through Invercargill's streets to Queen's Park as part of the National Pipe Band Championships. Footpaths were lined with camp chairs as people sought the best view of pipe bands, marching in formation and playing triumphantly along the way. The ILT City of Invercargill Highland Pipe Band were named Grade 2 champions, while the Hukanui Celtic Pipe Band won Grade 4A. The juvenile champions were also from Invercargill. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. New Zealand fire and emergency crews burnt down a house in Blanket Bay Road, Sawyers Bay, as part of a fire practice after it was gifted to the Port Chalmers crew. The first positive COVID-19 test result has been confirmed in New Zealand's tourism capital, Queenstown. And Dunedin's Fringe Festival is celebrating its 20th year, but it has cancelled some events due to coronavirus. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we have Craig Page with us this evening. Kia ora, Craig.
Good evening. Yeah, crazy times at the moment as we all try to get our head around COVID-19 and the implications. Needless to say, there's plenty on the subject in tomorrow's paper as well, including calls for calm in Queenstown from Mayor Jim Bolt. Of course, the 8th New Zealand case was discovered in Queenstown over the weekend, or confirmed in Queenstown over the weekend, and it's caused a bit of a panic through the resort town, as you can imagine. So it's going to have a huge impact on Queenstown. There's reports today of aircraft arriving from Australia with just a handful of passengers aboard. We've spoken to the Queenstown Chamber of Commerce Chief Executive Anna Michael today as well. She's saying that there's going to be significant job losses in the tourism sector. Already reports of some workers cutting their losses and leaving town, freeing up some accommodation as well.
Right.
Lots of events cancelled throughout the region as well. Hyde Street Parties confirmed today that it's cancelled as well, and that's only going to get worse, I guess, as the weeks progress. So Dunedin Hospital has also said it's considering or reviewing its visiting hours at the hospital as well, and may look to ban that just to try and keep things a bit safer. So yeah, there's so much information people are being bombarded with at the moment, it's quite hard to keep up with.
Absolutely.
On a brighter note, we've got a bit of a follow-up to an incident we carried over the weekend. It was a 10-hour manhunt for a man through central Otago after he allegedly pointed a firearm at a police officer and stole a police car. We talked today to a member of public who was carjacked, or allegedly carjacked by this man as well. Talks of pulling over when he had a police car with flashing lights pull up behind him, only to discover it was this the chap police were looking for. So it's quite a story and well worth a read. On the sporting front, we've got the Seal of Magic tonight playing their ANZ Premiership opening match in Dunedin. We've just found out in the last hour or so that they've now decided that the public won't be admitted to the game. Right. It's going to be played behind closed doors, and that's on the back of Jacinda Ardern announcing this afternoon that there's a banning crowds of more than 500. So it's going to be a strange old game. We understand the media may not be allowed either, but we will do our best to get some coverage of that in for tomorrow's newspaper.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Starting with the southern view taken of a large piece of graffiti on Dunedin's wharf. Now to the situation. Cold tomorrow with some coastal cloud, and it's frosty inland tomorrow night. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport may have a cloud or two, and it's 19 degrees. Across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim can expect clear skies tomorrow and 20 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura, Christchurch and Ashburton can expect grey skies and 13 degrees. Kaikoura and Christchurch may have some rain as well. To the southern towns, those in the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore are all looking at 13 degrees too. It's otherwise fine here with some light southwesterlies. Heading to central Otago where the fine weather and light winds mostly continue, Queenstown and Wanaka can expect 15 degrees. Alexandra gets up to 16. Chano, you have moderate northwesterlies, rain later in the day and 13 degrees. to the northern towns. A similar picture, light winds and clear skies. On the coast, Timaru and Oamaru reach 13 degrees. It's due to be a bit warmer inland. Twizel and Omarama should reach 15 degrees. In Dunedin, fine weather tonight with an overnight low of 10 degrees. Mostly cloudy and very cold tomorrow with moderate southwest winds, a high of 11 and a low of 8. Fine with sunny periods and some cloud on Wednesday. Still cold with winds tending northeast late in the day, a high of 13 and a low of 10 degrees. And to Invercargill, cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 8 degrees. Cloud clearing and long sunny periods developing tomorrow. Cold with moderate southwesterly winds, frost possible. Tomorrow night, a high of 13 and a low of 2. Sunny and cool on Wednesday with light winds, a high of 14 and a low of 5 degrees. That's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening and week. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.